Welcome to Caseback Watches. My name is Tim, and in this video I have the pleasure to present you the latest watch by Baltic, the MR Roulette. Yes, Baltic again. I'm a big fan of that brand because of the designs and the build quality and the specifications. And here I have something very interesting. 36 millimeters, hesalite crystal, and inspired by, I would say, a roulette game. So we're a bit design-wise in the 40s, a very interesting period in watchmaking. But this watch is also very interesting when you turn it around, when you see the movement, because what we have here is a micro-rotor. And you may have seen these type of watch movements in, for example, the pole router by Universal Genève, mainly from the 50s and 60s. There you see these tiny rotors inside the movement. And now we could ask, of course, what's the advantage of that micro rotor? And there are actually 2 points. First, the movement is relatively slender, because when you imagine the regular watch caliber, then you have the rotor on top of the movement and it adds up in height, right? But with a micro rotor, you have that rotor implemented into the movement, so to speak, so that you can construct very slender watches with this type of movement. And the next point is that you can see more parts of the movement because it's not covered by that rotor. You have more surfaces for example, nice decorations. And so we have quite some benefits, but these movements are rare nowadays. Don't ask me why. I have no idea. I think just the regular rotor is some sort of staple in the watch industry and nobody cares about these micro rotor movements. But Baltic found one in China, made by Hangzhou. This is a Chinese movement manufacturer, and they have the 5000A, which is in fact a micro rotor movement. The other specs are pretty normal and modern. 28,800 beats and a power reserve of 42 hours, so the standard specs, so to speak. But micro rotor and really the capability to make nice decorations, to make nice custom-made things like blued screws. You see it here, it's just an amazing caliber. Some people say, though, that the quality of the decoration is a bit inferior in direct comparison to Swiss-made movements, high-end Swiss-made movements, and that's certainly true. Baltic has used it now for a watch with a price tag way under 700 bucks, and so of course you cannot use their Swiss-made caliber with a high 3-digit price. So we have a very handsome design, we have an interesting caliber, we have a reasonable price tag, and so I think now we're good to go to check out that watch in detail in the Lightbox. And here we are with our MR Roulette, Baltic MR Roulette Salmon dial. And it's very tempting here to start with the movement, but let's stick to the plan. Let's begin with the basic specs, with the measurements and components. So we have a watch here with a case diameter of 36 millimeters. The length, lug to lug, is 44. Height is 10, or let's be precise, 9.9, and lug width here is 20. Then the watch, it has a hesalite crystal, so we're talking about plexiglass. And here you see, by the way, exactly what plexiglass can do. See how crisp that looks here, but more of that later. So hesalite crystal, regular crown, waterproof up to 30 meters, so not really that much, but we are in the genre dress watch. And the watch here is powered by the caliber Hangzhou 5000A. First time I come across this movement. And it offers a power reserve of 42 hours. And the price for this watch now is 545 euros or 588 US dollars. Okay, let's begin here with the dial. I think by now Baltic is kind of famous for their dials because they're very playful and they combine so much textures, colors, and this is a very good example. This is one of these dials I feel I don't have to explain you so much. You can see it. The watch speaks for itself, but at least I can try to explain what I find special here. And this is, of course, the different textures you find on this dial, and of course that radial arrangement of the numerals, the nice font of the numerals. Often people criticize here the 3 and 4 where it turns around, but I find this very Very handsome, I must say. Very, very handsome dial. We have a bit of a jewelry character by that minute track with these little numerals here. We have small seconds. Very nice. Underlines the character of the watch. Also these dolphin hands without loom. The entire watch comes without loom. And yeah, there you go. That's all I think I can tell you about that dial. Of course, it's a bit a matter of taste. If you like that color, if you like that layout. But I really enjoy this look here. I really do. And let's turn the case around a bit. You might ask why drilled lug holes, but actually you see this pretty often with watches from the 40s, 50s, 60s, that they come very elegant and they come with drilled lug holes. And now please tell me that this is a crisp look. This is exactly what I mean, and many others when they say that plexiglass has its benefits, and here you see that. This is just insane. Insane. Absolutely insane how crisp it is. Sometimes you have the impression that there is not a crystal in front of you that you could touch all the elements. It's just crazy, and I really, really like that. Case here is brushed, then you have this bezel high polished, and here is now the movement. My experiences with this movement is zero, I have to tell you. So I don't know if this is a reliable and good working movement, but I expect it, of course, because there's some risk in this. When a company chooses a movement and then it turns out crappy, then they are in big problems. And so I assume that this is a good working thing, and it sure is a super good looking movement with a lot of decoration. There you see the famous Micro-rotor, you see blued screws, and a lot of here these Côte de Genève and all these other decorations is just beautiful. And also amazing is how big that exhibition case back comes here, right? You don't have so much metal around it, you have some small screws, and I think this large case back is one of the reasons why this watch is not really that waterproof. And then the watch comes on this black leather strap, and I have to give them, it fits. It feels a bit artificial, but I think this is the type of the leather here. There's the clasp, and so overall very, very handsome ensemble, really nice. But now let's check out the functionality, how that movement feels. And here you have a very small crown, wheel-like. Also you see this type of crown very often with older vintage watches, and so historically accurate clock. And then you can set the time. This feels, yeah, normal. I have to say it feels pretty normal. It's a hackable movement. There you go. Feels pretty normal. Allows hand winding. Feels there like a cylinder. Perhaps you can hear that scratchy sound. But overall feels pretty normal. And the performance certainly is there. So it keeps time, it runs, and so all good. But do we have only positives? As always, this is not a sponsored review, so I'm free to speak about everything I see here. Now I see some dust there. I love that watch, I must say. But I have one problem, and this is this surface here, this brushing here, and this very sharp edge. This looks a bit odd because everything else is well designed, well executed, and this looks a bit rustic. I mean, it's flawless. It's flawless. But you see how to describe it, that brushing is a bit too rustic for me. I think here is finer than there. And so this I find a bit disturbing. It looks a bit like a part ready for the next step in manufacturing, if you know what I mean. So a part not really ready, waiting for the finishing. And so this is a bit of a problem I see here. I think you can get used to it, but right now I feel that there's a bit of a break between these super duper high-end pieces and this rather rustic brushing. But that's my only bit of criticism, and I find it amazing that they can put out something like that, the entire ensemble, for a price well under 600 euros or 600 US dollars. This is really amazing. This is just great. And so I think overall the package is very convincing, and yeah, another proof that Baltic is stepping up the game, that they will make the step from a micro brand to a smaller brand to a very well known proper watch brand. All right, I'll leave it there. Let's go back. Okay, welcome back. I hope this was fun for you. For me, it was certainly big fun, this thing on the wrist. I have to send it back now, unfortunately, but that's the way it goes, independent reviews. So please check out casebackwatches.com because this is the online shop that keeps everything afloat. So if you enjoy independent reviews and if you need a new leather strap or another leather item, then buy it at casebakwatches.com, please. It's a big help and it's not a donation. You get really something valuable for your money. And that's all for this episode. Thank you very much and see you next Monday to Watch of the Week. Bullshit. And that's all for this episode. Thank you very much and until next time.